All right, guys, on today's project, we're going to be turning fabric scraps into a bowl. So let's get started. All right, so turning a bowl out of these fabric scraps, it's pretty much like a micarta project. We basically cast these things in epoxy resin, smashed it down, and then I turned it on the lathe. This project is actually going to be auctioned off, and the proceeds are going to go to charity. So my good friend Scott Wishart, he's the Star Wars X-Wing sphere guy on Instagram. A lot of people, probably a lot of you guys know him. And I did this last year and made the X-Wing sphere for this same benefit. Scott is going to be riding, I think, 100 miles or something like that on a bike, and he's, having makers, create projects, auction them off, and the proceeds are going to go to help sponsor that. He's also getting sponsored for his cycling, and all of it is going to the MS Society. So a really awesome cause and a really fun project. So let's get over to the lathe and see how this project turned up. Overall, the turning went really well on this. It turned fairly easily, but it was really abrasive, even with the carbide, so I probably wouldn't recommend using high-speed steel on something like this. The fabric plus the epoxy just really eats on the edge, and I think you'd be sharpening your tool more than you're turning if you were using, high-speed steel rather than carbide. All right, so I just wanted to stop and point out that the lathe is running in reverse in this shot. I'm cutting it's going backwards basically, and that's why I'm cutting on the right side of the bowl edge. On a normal lathe that's running forward, you would be cutting on the left. So I just want to point that out just to make sure nobody tries to do this with their lathe running forward. It just makes it a little bit easier to reach for me. So a lot of times I'll kind of flip-flop back and forth depending on what I'm doing. But a lot of times when I'm just, hogging out material on a bowl, I'll put the lathe in reverse mode, and it just makes things a little bit easier. I sanded from 120 grit all the way up to 600 grit, and then I applied a UV finish. I really like using that Illuma UV finish on medium-sized projects like this, and I've found that if you use a decent artist brush to paint it on, it goes on really smooth, and you can pretty much just cure it, and it's good to go. You don't really need to do a lot of finishing to the finish. The best part about UV resins is you have unlimited working time with them. So you can take your time, you're not rushing against the clock, and get everything on perfectly. And once everything's smoothed out and the finish is the way that you want it, then you can just hit it with one of those little torch black lights and it will start the curing process and lock everything in place. Now, it's not going to fully cure it. You need to expose it to UV rays for probably about 15 to 20 minutes. So what I do is I just hook up a UV light. It's actually made for curing nails, for people that are getting their nails done, but it works perfectly for this. And I have to get a little creative setting it up on the lathe, but I can leave the lathe running, which makes sure that it's going to get exposed on all sides to that UV light. Then I can just set it up and expose it to the inside of the cup. So that works pretty well for me. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes of exposure to the light, and then it should be fully cured. So I'll have a link down in the description below if anybody's interested in looking at the light that I have. It's been working really good so far for me, and like I said, just a little creativity, and you can hook it up on your lathe and get everything fully cured. Walk away, you don't even have to mess with it. To finish up the foot of the piece, I just reverse chucked it using the coal jaws. I love those things. You can just quickly remount a piece and do some light turning on it just to clean things up. And you don't have to worry about creating a jam chuck or scratching the piece. The little rubber bumpers hold it in place really well, allow you to get your work done and then move on. To finish everything off, I decided it'd be kind of neat to use adhesive-backed felt to make the bottom, non-marring. If you want to put this on something else, on a piece of furniture, if you put a finish on the bottom of this piece, it may be kind of scratchy. So I thought, felt will kind of be nice looking and also, make sure that wherever you put this thing, it's not going to scratch, your furniture or whatever. So I think it looks pretty good, and it also kind of keeps it in place. It's not going to slide around at all. Well, all right, I'm really happy with this thing. It turned out really cool. Just amazing, all the little squiggles of color and all that kind of stuff. So pretty awesome, fun project to make, and it's not that hard to do. You just grab some fabric scraps and cast them, squish them down a little bit. I don't even think you need to do so much clamping to get a decent looking blank. If you really want the tight kind of squiggles, you would have to do the same way that I did it. But I think you can just kind of slam a bunch of fabric in there and you're good to go. So I hope you guys give it a try. So again, this is going to be auctioned off for charity. We're going to be trying to raise a little bit of money for the MS Society. So I'm going to put a post up on Instagram and it'll have all the information, the rules and all that kind of stuff. Basically, you're just going to, enter your bid as a comment, and then I'll just kind of keep track of it. And when we run out of the, the bidding period, when that ends, whoever's got the highest bid wins. So head over to my Instagram page. There's a link to the specific post for this thing down in the description below. And yeah, and one other thing, I want to thank Leah for sending in the fabric scraps. I kept saying, I think yarn scraps in the beginning of the video. I messed that up, but they're fabric scraps, and she quilts and does some really cool stuff. She's Colorful Art Girl on Instagram, so I'll have a link also to her Instagram page as well down in the description. She does all kinds of cool stuff. So again, thank you, Leah, for sending this out. I still have a pen blank and knife scales actually that we made as well. So one of these days I'm going to turn that pen up. I don't really do knives that much, so I might try and sell those or give them to somebody that makes knives. But we'll see some more fabric scrap micarta. It should be pretty cool. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, definitely hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in seeing more resin casting projects, tips and tricks, and experiments. That's what we do around here. So hit that subscribe and the little notification bell. And if you're thinking about getting into resin casting, but you're not really sure where to begin, check out my ebook, The Beginner's Guide to Resin Casting. It answers all those beginner questions, like what do I need to get started? Which resin should I use? It'll kind of help you get, going along that path. I find a lot of people kind of get hung up on, there's so much information out there, and a lot of it's actually contradictory, that they're not really sure where to begin, so they just don't get started. So this book is for the beginner. It just will help you kind of figure out what's going on with the entire landscape of resin casting so that you can actually get started. So it's available on my website if you're interested. So again, guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to share this video as well as the post to the auction. I mean, it's for charity, so anything that you can do to spread the word about that post, most importantly, so we can get some bids and some money raised for charity. I really appreciate it. So until next time, guys, thanks for watching this one, and happy casting.